Hey everyone, um, what we're going to do today for you is a jig I like to call the Snow Angel because it's all white using white rabbit. Uh, what we have in the vise is a 1/8 ounce round ball jig uh, with a 1/0 owner 5318 uh, super needle point jig hook. And we're going to start by putting our base of white thread, Danville flat wax nylon, 210 denier, and I'm going down onto the shank over the lead collar on this. Um, you can use a collarless jig. It works just the same. It's easier just to keep the collar on. And I'm going to go down and let it hang just in front of that hook point. That's as far down as I'm going to go. And come back up, put a little more on the lead collar, and go back down. Now, first thing I'm going to do is take my rabbit strip here and I'm going to measure. I'm going to start tying it in right on the lead collar, not all the way to the top, but right about there on the lead collar. And I'm going to want that to go about, say, an inch, inch and a half. It's going to be my tail. So you're not going to need a trailer with this. That looks good. It's that time of year now where hair jigs are going to come in. Now, one thing when you're cutting bucktail, when you're cutting this rabbit, you see that this leather strip here, you don't want to just take your scissors and cut right across it. Instead, what you're going to do is you're just going to cut into this leather piece. Take your scissors and just cut it that you have that little nick right there. And you're going to pull it that it snaps off. And there's a reason for doing that. As you can see, this is the end of my strip now, and your hair's still intact. If I cut this square right across, then that's what it ends up looking like. And I wouldn't be able to use it for a tail. So you'd actually lose a lot of material. So we just cut a little bit in the leather and then pull it apart. Now that I got my rabbit strip, now here's something. I'm tying this to the back of the jig, hook point facing down, with this leather facing up. You could do it with the leather facing down. I've done it both ways. Um, in this case, because this jig is going to be swam and the eye is going to be facing up, I want the leather up. That way, the tail actually is facing this way when you're working the jig. So that's just that. Now, I'm going to start tying right at the base of this lead. So you can see there's a little gap right here. There's a little gap there. I don't take it all the way up to the collar. And that's because when I get to the collar, I don't want anything there because I'm going to put hackle in there to finish it off, which will be optional. But now you could just line this leather up right on the hook shank, and you're going to tie down to where you had the thread, right that hook point there. That's where you had the thread stop at, and that's right where you're going to stop this. Go back up. Now your tail is in. Now we're going to take some flash, and on this jig I'm going to use two different kinds. I'm going to use Ghost Pearl crystal flash and just a plain silver crystal flash. And I want this to go to where the leather stops on my rabbit tail there. tie it in this way, and then just fold it over and tie it in the other way, and there you go. And it'll never pull out. It'll break before it would pull out by tying it in one piece that way instead of just cutting it in half and tying half here. I found the best way is to leave it in one piece and fold it over. Now that we have that, we're going to take the rest of our rabbit strip and we're going to start by getting the very end and just tying it in right at the base of that tail. And we're going to bring it all the way up to here with our thread. And now we're going to wrap. And you'll see the way the hair goes. You can use cross-cut rabbit hair, which will have the hair pointing down. I like regular Zonker strips because the hair is going to stand out a little bit. This is called palmering, is where I'm going to palmer or wrap this hair, and as I'm doing it, I'm pushing the hair down. Push the hair down. Keep wrapping till you get almost to the base of the head. Now, I'm going to put hackle on this for a collar. If you weren't going to use it, you could just continue to wrap right up to the base of the head and finish it off like that. But in this case, I want just a little bit of a gap. There. Now we got that. Now the same thing applies to cutting this off, the excess. I'm going to pull it tight and just trim on that leather. Hold my jig. Now if I pull like that and it doesn't come off, I got to trim a little bit deeper. And there it is. Wet your fingers, pull your hair back, and make your finishing wraps. If you want to finish it, we can leave it just like that, but I'm going to tie in some Blue Dun hackle. And what I did was, if you could see, I stripped, there's no barbels on that side because I'm going to wrap it the opposite way with the stem side down. And you don't have to do it. I just think it makes it neater on a jig like this. I don't want a whole lot of I don't want it real hairy up here. Now take my hackle pliers, fan the barbels out, and make my wraps. You could put as many as you want or as few as you want. You get creative with it. It all depends on what you're trying to achieve. Me with this is just it's going to give it a little bit of a different color variant, and it's going to add a little movement at the top of the jig. I often think that you can make it red and have like gills, and then once you have it in, make a couple securing wraps and then trim. I get it close, so you got to be careful you don't cut cut your thread. I've done that in the past too. And there it is. I trimmed it out. Wet your fingers, makes it easier. And now that I got it secured, whip finish. Three, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull it tight. Now the way I'm going to put head cement on this is really simple. I'm going to take this, which is a bodkin, which is you could even use if you can find a small piece of aluminum or steel rod, whatever, sewing needles, upholstery needles, and make your own. And I'm just going to dip it in my head cement, pull the hair back, and just run it right at the base of the head and let it run on there. Let it run onto the threads so you don't get it on your hair. And that's all there is to it. Put my head cement away and show you these guys this jig we just created. And there you have it. That is from the top. That is the snowball. Very easy to create, very effective in the water, has a lot of movement. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. There you go. Thanks for watching.